will continue to instruct you. Drive, everyone, drive. Listen to Darth Vader. You will not stop the dark side. You have no choice. It is over for all of you.
The people of Pakistan are under attack. What do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
The people of Pakistan are under attack. What do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
The people of Yemen are under attack. What do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
The people of Yemen are under attack. What do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
The people of Yemen are under attack. What do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
Hey, Boeing, what do you say?
How many kids have you killed today?
Hey, Boeing, what do you say?
How many kids have you killed today?
Hey, Boeing, what do you say?
How many kids have you killed today?
Money for jobs.
Not for war!
Money for jobs.
Not for war!
Money for jobs.
Not for war!
Money for health care.
Not for war!
Money for health care.
Not for war!
Money for health care.
Not for war!
Money for schools.
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 Not for war!
Thank you, everybody. Everybody who was out today. A fantastic protest in March. We're going to wrap it up with a couple speakers on this end. One of them is a longtime activist in the anti-war and social justice movement in Chicago. He was one of the founders of the Chicago Coalition Against War and Racism. He's also a leader in the National Committee to Free the Cuban Five. He's a great friend and supporter of all national liberation movements and struggles for self-determination. He's always on the right side of those issues. And he just returned from a trip to China and especially North Korea. We've been talking about stopping the next wars, and we've heard the dogs of war against the North Koreans and the people of Korea, of the entire peninsula. He's here to talk to us for a couple minutes about what he saw and what he experienced in North Korea. Please welcome Stan Smith. Yeah, thank you very much. The U.S. is conducting a massive war maneuvers against North Korea, practicing for a first strike attack, an occupation of North Korea. In this, the U.S. is using Boeing-made stealth bombers, undetectable by radar, capable of carrying nuclear weapons. And the U.S. says North Korea's response to this is a provocation and a threat to peace. You may notice in our so-called free and open press, we are only presented with the views of the U.S. government about what is going on. Having just been in a DPRK, North Korea as it is called here, reading their news, it is surprising how perfectly sensible their concerns are, and are not even mentioned here. The last time I ever heard North Korea's views mentioned here was when Dennis Rodman met with Kim Jong-un. Rodman said he brought back a message from Kim. The message was simple and sensible. It said, "We don't want war. Call me." Yet both Rodman and Kim were written off as ridiculous creatures. Nobel Peace Prize winner President Obama refused to accept the message, evidently preferring an escalating threat of a regional nuclear war to talking. So you tell me who is sensible and who is crazy. Have any of you read in the corporate media the view that maybe, just maybe, that we should go talk to North Korea? We should remember that Korea is divided because of the U.S. divided it, without consulting and against the will of the Korean people. 200,000 Koreans died fighting the Japanese occupation of their country. And when the country was liberated, or the liberation was at hand in 1945, the U.S. denied it to them. This was the cause of the Korean War that broke out in 1950 and 53. And the U.S. invaded the whole country to block the liberation struggle for unification, backed by both the people of the North and the South. About 5 million people died in that war. General Curtis LeMay, who was one of those in charge of the carpet napalm bombing of the North, said maybe we killed 20% of the population. That is a higher rate of killing than the Nazis inflicted upon Poland or the Soviet Union. That is well more than the total number of Japanese and Americans killed in World War II. The U.S. war on Korea lasted for 3 years. The kill rate in that war equaled more than 911 every day, day after day, for the whole 1,100 days. The U.S. people had a scar from just one September 11th. So what kind of scars do Koreans have having this happen day after day for over 1,000 days? To us, the Korean War is ancient history, but there's no ancient history to Koreans, no more than the Nakba is to Palestinians. It's something that determines their lives every day. Now the country that was responsible for that slaughter in Korea was flying stealth bombers around North Korea, practicing dropping nuclear bombs. One of the North Koreans told me that since World War II, there have been 9,000 missile launches by countries. 4 of these missile launches have been by North Korea. There have been 2,000 atomic bomb tests. 3 of them were by North Korea. No country was ever sanctioned by the UN Security Council for this. No country, that is, except for the North Korea. So why wouldn't the North Koreans be incensed by this double standard, especially when the U.S. has nuclear weapons in South Korea? Finally, it is almost obligatory in this country to speak of human rights when we speak of North Korea. We should try to improve the human rights situation in Korea, not only in the North but in the South. Both societies are more closed and controlled than our own. Obviously, being threatened with war and war maneuvers and giving harsh sanctions does not facilitate freedom and openness in this society. If we really want more human rights for the people of North Korea, then we should stop pointing a gun at their head. We should listen to Kim Jong-un's message that said, "We don't want war, let's talk." That would not only facilitate a more open society there in the North Korea, but also in South Korea and also here in the United States. Thank you.
The people of Korea are under attack. What do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
The people of Pakistan are under attack. What do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
The people of Yemen are under attack. What do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
Hey, Boeing, what do you say?
How many kids have you killed today?
Hey, Boeing, what do you say?
How many kids have you killed today?
All right, let's make it loud enough so the dude that makes $27.5 million a year can hear us. Hey, Boeing, what do you say?
How many kids have you killed today?
Hey, Boeing, what do you say?
How many kids have you killed today?
Hey, Boeing, what do you say?
How many kids have you killed today?
Hey, Boeing, what do you say?
How many kids have you killed today?
Money for jobs!
Not for war!
Money for jobs!
Not for war!
Money for jobs!
Not for war!
Money for schools!
Not for war!
Money for schools!
Not for war!
Money for schools!
Not for war!
Money for healthcare!
Not for war!
Money for healthcare!
Not for war!
Money for healthcare!
Not for war!
Our last speaker for the afternoon is a person I met a few times over the years, the past couple years, but starting to get to know him a little bit better. Had a great presentation, a speech at the commemoration of the 10-year anniversary of the War of Iraq on March 20th. And he's an important person in the anti-war movement because his organization is an important one in the anti-war movement. The Iraqi Veterans Against the War are doing great work around this country and are an important institution in this country. And one of their leaders in Indiana, is here speaking today, Vince Emanuel.
Thanks, brothers and sisters. It's good to be out here with you today, marching. Finally, it's a little warm, so we can be in the streets for the rest of the summer, yeah? I was standing here and I was trying to think of what to say. We had so many wonderful speakers. One of my personal heroes is Kathy Kelly. She was out here today. I think we should give a round of applause for Kathy. And I think it's interesting, and I'm glad that we're here in Boeing. One of my favorite progressive thinkers is John Dewey, and one of John Dewey's famous quotes is that government is simply the shadow cast on society by big business. So I'm glad to be here today to stand up to these murderers and these criminals at Boeing, because that's what they are. And as Tim said earlier, we need to speak about it in those terms. The school closings here are racist. The training leading into the military, referring to people in Iraq and Afghanistan as camel jockeys, as hajis. This is part of the institutional systemic racism inherent to American society, inherent to the military apparatus. And we need to be very clear that we're against American empire and that we have to connect all of these issues. And interestingly enough, now they're using the excuse that drones, of course, are going to save American lives, as if Americans aren't willing or capable of caring about other lives than American lives. Lives in Yemen, lives in Afghanistan, lives in Pakistan, lives in Iraq. These, I think, are the messages that we should be conveying. And you know, I was just thinking, obviously on the anniversary, the 45th anniversary of the murder of Martin Luther King, and I was listening to a lot of his old speeches, and you know, Dr. King didn't bring up a lot of statistics. He didn't talk in these terms that you would hear in college classrooms. Dr. King was very clear, and he tried, I think, to tap in to the moral core and the ethical core of people's being, and what it meant to be alive, and what it meant to be a human being, and what it meant to be living on this planet. And I think sometimes, as we know, you know, here in Chicago, billions spent on war, schools closing at home. Billions spent on war, mental health facilities closing at home. But in the same token, we have to ask, I think, our fellow citizens, what does it mean to be a human being again? And we don't talk in those terms sometimes. I would like to talk in those terms today. Because for me, I didn't become opposed to the war because of the amount of money we were spending. I didn't become opposed to the war because of some of my best friends who were killed. I became opposed to the war because I saw what it was doing to the people of Iraq on a day-to-day basis. And I don't think we could limit ourselves to drones either. I think we need to pay attention to the developments in robotics technology. It's not just drones. It's unmanned vehicles on the ground. It's unmanned surveillance vehicles. It's nanotechnology, biotechnology. That's what these people are working on. According to the Army, by 2015 to 2025, half of the U.S. Armed Forces will be robots. They will be autonomized robotic machines. Okay, and that's going to become a lot easier for them to wage war and empire overseas with these imperial actions, because they're going to try and make the argument that American lives aren't at risk. Well, coincidentally, those who are flying drones right now have twice the rate of suicide as those who are on the ground in Iraq and Afghanistan. They're coming home and they're killing themselves because they're playing a video game and killing people and watching the death and destruction. We need to connect all of these issues. It's a pleasure always to be with you, brothers and sisters. I love you all. Thank you.